Welcome to the future, where prison has become a deadly spectacle. Every fight is a chance to die for the crowd's entertainment, and the prize for a kill is freedom. "2045, a sprawling metropolis somewhere in the US. The arena shakes with thunderous cheers as thousands pack the stands, hungry for violence. Tonight's main event, a brutal death match between a hardened convict and one of the arena's most feared gladiators. Only 3 minutes remain in the round, and it's clear the convict, Novak, is on the losing end. His opponent, the infamous Calypso, is armed with a deadly pickaxe and wrapped in reinforced armor. Desperate and bloodied, Novak knows his only chance is to stay light on his feet, dodge the incoming blows, and get close enough to strike. As the crowd roars for blood, Novak slips past Calypso's guard, launching a fierce series of attacks. He knocks the gladiator off balance, wrestles the pickaxe from his hands, and turns the tide. Now armed and in control, Novak raises the weapon, ready to end the fight and win the ultimate prize, freedom. But just as victory seems certain, a new challenger enters the arena. A lithe woman steps into the spotlight, known only by her mocking nickname, Cupcake. Before Novak can react, she charges. Her sword flashes in the light, then plunges deep into his gut. Novak stumbles, trying to rise, but his insides spill onto the sand as Cupcake laughs, basking in the crowd's adoration. They want another kill, and she gives it to them without hesitation. Another match ends in blood. Another convict dies in the war arena, where every week, new prisoners fight for freedom against elite killers. The crowd bets, the rich profit, and everything is overseen by a ruthless businessman named Desmond. But backstage, Desmond gets bad news from his assistant. Viewership is dropping, and the money's drying up. Desperate, he proposes letting members of the public join the fights to boost ratings. But the arena's owner shuts it down, fearing lawsuits and a visit from the feds. Washington Penitentiary. Luke Bender has already served 10 years of a 200-year sentence. A guard comes to his cell with unexpected news. The parole board has arrived and wants to speak with him. The board is looking for signs of remorse, redemption, but Luke gives them none. He stares them down and says flatly, "I'm still too angry. I don't belong in society." He refuses to be considered for the war arena and walks out. Back in his cell, he speaks with his fiancée's father over a grainy video call. The older man reminds him why he's in prison, begs him to stay strong, no matter the cost. That night, Luke sits alone, staring at a worn photo of his lost love. Doubt creeps in. Maybe he made a mistake. Maybe refusing to fight was the coward's choice. Because in the war arena, freedom is just one win away, and maybe that's the only chance he'll ever have to see her again. While the commission continues interviewing inmates, one name stands out: Arturo Perez, a convicted killer serving life for 57 murders. Arturo has spent just 15 years behind bars. Now, he's offered a chance at freedom, if he agrees to fight. He signs up, unaware of just how lethal the arena really is. A week later, Arturo and 9 other inmates are prepped for the blood-soaked spectacle known as War Arena. The show's hosted by 2 battle-hardened pros, Steven and Joe, both veterans of earlier, less violent seasons. Before the chaos begins, they introduce the crowd to 7 gladiators, dangerous criminals outfitted with specialized gear and weapons. Some are fresh faces, lifers locked up for brutal high-profile killings. Others are fan-favorite returners, like the ruthless Calypso and the sadistic Cupcake, who've been in the game since day one. The moment Arturo sees who he's up against, the bravado fades. These aren't just killers, they're monsters from max security lockdown. The worst of the worst. For the first time in years, Arturo feels real fear. While the audience and producers get hyped for the carnage, one inmate starts to crack. Steve, a young guy, swears he's innocent, that he landed here by mistake. But no one's buying it. Arturo and the others shut him down. No one's here by accident, they tell him. Suck it up or die fast. Before the fight begins, the 10 inmates are gathered for a final briefing by Boggs, a tough-as-nails trainer and former war arena champion. Boggs won his freedom through blood, only to return as a warden when he couldn't cope with life on the outside. He tells them the hard truth. If you don't fight as one, you die alone. His goal is clear: get them to function as a team. It's their only shot. The fighters take their positions. Tension crackles in the air, but as soon as they hit the ring, Steve loses it. Arturo tries to steady him, but it's too late. A blast of flame erupts from the arena, incinerating Steve on the spot. The crowd goes wild. 9 inmates remain. Then comes Nero, a hulking figure in a gas mask, dual blades gleaming. Nero steps into the arena like death itself. Arturo shouts for the others to stick together, but panic takes over. 3 inmates break formation and try to flee. Big mistake. Their implanted trackers start to glow. Turns out, they're actually explosive devices. A timer activates. Seconds later, 3 small explosions rock the arena, leaving nothing but smoke and limbs. Now there are 6. The survivors split into pairs and try to take down Nero. But he's fast, brutally efficient. Moving like a predator, he slices through 4 of them with chilling precision. When the dust settles, only 2 are left standing: Arturo and Goldie. Being comrades, Arturo and Goldie trust each other and try to work as a team. Coordinating their moves, they manage to overpower the gladiator, knocking him to the ground. Arturo grabs one of the knives and moves into the next room to hunt down their enemies. Goldie decides to take the other knife and finish Nero off, but suddenly, Nero snaps back to life and kills Goldie. Hearing the crowd's excited cheers, Arturo hides and then launches a surprise attack on Nero, aiming to kill him. Just before he can deliver the final blow, a new gladiator enters the arena, Counter-Strike. In the fierce fight that follows, Arturo is physically outmatched, and Counter-Strike pushes him against the wall. At that moment, a door behind Arturo swings open, and he falls into the hands of another gladiator, known as the Meat Wagon. The Meat Wagon immediately executes Arturo, marking the end of the show. Minutes later, an assistant informs Desmond that the ratings keep dropping. The audience is growing tired of watching cold-blooded killers. Everything feels too predictable. Once viewers learn about the inmates' crimes, they lose interest fast. Realizing fewer people want to root for murderers, the organizers decide to shake things up by creating a hero the crowd can rally behind. After considering dozens of candidates, Desmond settles on Luke. The CEO of a major corporation knows Luke well. He's read the full dossier on the former Marine and knows Luke is innocent. But before offering a deal, Desmond decides to test Luke's skills and physical condition. Two of his bodyguards attack Luke but quickly lose the fight, ending up badly injured. Desmond makes his decision. Luke will fight in war arena, whether he agrees or not. In fact, Luke has no choice. The court has already approved his execution by lethal injection. His only options are to fight for freedom or die. Knowing his desire to see his fiancée outweighs any common sense, Luke agrees to take part. A few days later, Luke joins a new group of 10 inmates. On the way to the show's base, he meets Khan, a smuggler searching for allies. Soon, they all undergo medical exams, but the inmates never come face to face with the gladiators. That's because the gladiators receive a special injection designed to subdue their will. Domino, Desmond's assistant, injects herself too. She's as much a slave to the system as the rest. Later, Luke gets to know another inmate better, Copper, a former soldier and fighter. Copper's here to save himself and his brother, who's also one of the 10 combatants. The next morning, hosts Stephen and Joe drop a bombshell on the audience. An innocent man will fight. Hearing Luke Bender's story, that he's a former Marine set up by his superiors, Khan and the others grow curious about the details. Luke admits he took the blame for a crime orchestrated by a high-ranking officer for 2 reasons: to protect the president and to keep his fiancée and her father safe from prosecution. Minutes before the fight, Boggs offers Luke his full support, urging him to stay strong and see the trial through to the end. Soon, 10 fighters step into the arena. Among them are an MMA champion, some ruthless thugs, a smuggler, and Luke, who's struggling to rally the reluctant crowd of prisoners. As they enter the first arena, the door slams shut behind them, and gas begins to pour in from the ceiling. Suddenly, flames erupt, engulfing one of the men and throwing the arena into chaos. Seizing the moment, Nero charges in and attacks the prisoners. They try to fight back, but the gladiator lands a brutal blow that seriously wounds Cassie. Billy jumps in, delivering a rapid series of powerful strikes that knock the weapon from Nero's hand. Just as Nero starts to falter, several prisoners swarm him, grabbing his arms, but Nero breaks free and kills one of them, forcing the others to retreat. Luke can't get close to Nero, thanks to an annoying cameraman filming every move, so he knocks the guy out in frustration. When it comes down to a one-on-one showdown, the Marine beats Nero but hesitates to deliver the killing blow. Jones, unwilling to take chances, steps in and snaps the gladiator's neck. The team moves on to the second arena, where their next opponent is a gladiator known as Counter-Strike. He grabs Han by the throat and lifts him off the ground like a ragdoll. Luke attacks, but Counter-Strike's reinforced exoskeleton makes him nearly unstoppable. He easily fends off every assault. Seeing Alice about to become the next victim, she shoves Cassie toward Counter-Strike, but the gladiator instantly kills him and then snaps her neck. Luke attacks again, and Han drives a knife into Counter-Strike's back, finally taking down their second opponent. Luke urges the prisoners to unite and fight as a team, offering to lead them, but Jones refuses to follow, calling Luke weak and accusing him of being unable to make the hard calls. After accusing Luke of failing to execute when necessary, Jones chooses to go it alone. At the entrance to the third arena, he comes face to face with a gladiator known as Meat Wagon, who instantly kills him with a single axe strike and tosses his body at the entrance as a brutal warning. Luke once again urges the prisoners to band together. Cheered on by the roaring crowd, the survivors move into the next room, where another axe-wielding opponent awaits. Surrounding him, Copper disarms the gladiator and executes the third enemy, sending the crowd into a frenzy and boosting support for the prisoners. Before the fourth round, the 5 surviving prisoners get a moment to catch their breath. The tournament is halfway over, and they have a chance to recover, but then Boggs informs them that Desmond wants to meet, inviting them to the VIP lounge as guests. On the rooftop of a skyscraper, Carl, Copper, Billy, and Han entertain the spectators, while Luke meets with the show's organizer. He learns that he's considered the favorite, and that Desmond has a special offer, best discussed behind closed doors. In an empty room, the corporate head orders one of the prisoners to be beaten. His goal is to keep Luke in the game. Hundreds of sponsors are ready to release a special spin-off featuring the Marine. Luke refuses, but Desmond reveals a photo of his fiancée's and father-in-law's graves. It turns out they died 5 years ago in a car accident. The calls Luke had been receiving from his fiancée's father were fabrications generated by neural networks, because his loved ones had been dead all along, and he's been living a lie. After learning the truth, Luke loses control and tries to attack, but he's quickly knocked out. Soon after, Copper and Han find him and try to help, piecing together what's really going on. Luke opens up to the other prisoners and Boggs, who stand by him in this dark moment. Stripped of faith, hope for a better future, and freedom, Luke realizes they're driven by only one thing now: a burning thirst for revenge. A little later, Desmond meets with the hosts and orders the show to go on at all costs. Steven senses something seriously wrong, that the next broadcast will go off script, but he can't argue with the creator's decision. The time to resume the show arrives. Before the gladiators step onto the arena floor, Domino is supposed to inject them and herself, but she blatantly ignores the rule, only pretending to do her job. As the final round begins, the crowd cheers for their heroes. The host steps out to congratulate Luke on making it through the first stage. Knowing he has to play along, Luke thanks the producers for the chance and admits he's doing it all for the crowd's entertainment. No sooner does the host leave than Master Blaster appears, wielding a chainsaw. Recognizing the huge threat, Luke urges the prisoners to split up and move carefully, but stay coordinated. They surround the gladiator and land a series of strikes, but suddenly one prisoner is caught under the chainsaw, severely wounded. The fight rages on. Luke takes a risk and lunges at the gladiator, trying to disarm him. While Luke and Billy do their best to weaken the enemy, Han manages to grab the chainsaw and turn it against their foe. Copper says a final goodbye to his mortally wounded brother. Knowing they have to keep moving forward, Luke tries to lift his comrade's spirits. 3 more gladiators still stand between them and survival. The 4 survivors barely get a moment to catch their breath before the next door opens, revealing a clown swinging a baseball bat studded with nails. Mr. Smile is quick and merciless, making him a tough opponent. He swiftly beats Han and injures Billy. Luke calls him out to a duel, a distraction to keep his friends from getting hurt. Billy takes the moment, finishes off the clown, and after snatching the bat, delivers a knockout blow. The crowd falls silent, then rises to give a standing ovation, recognizing the courage and unity of the 4 surviving prisoners. Lost in rage, Billy brutally kills Mr. Smile, unleashing all his anger. Handing the chainsaw to Han, Luke tells him to go first. They have to keep pushing forward. Soon, the 4 prisoners face off against Calypso, and they realize this gladiator is a whole different level. Calypso is an undefeated arena veteran, clad in heavy armor and wielding a massive pickaxe. Han attacks first, but Calypso easily throws him aside. The same happens to Billy and Copper, who try to strike him from behind. When Calypso moves to kill one of the prisoners, Luke jumps in and grabs his arm. With backup from his teammates, Billy strikes Calypso from behind, knocking him down. As soon as they bring him down, the prisoners swarm and beat him mercilessly. Luke seizes the pickaxe, ready for the final kill, but then Cupcake appears on the arena, sword in hand. She attacks Luke from behind, landing 2 heavy blows on the Marine, then turns on the others. Billy is also wounded and down, so Copper does everything he can to distract Cupcake. Meanwhile, Han rushes to Luke's side and hands him a banned drug, a powerful painkiller. After taking it, Luke feels strength and adrenaline surge through him, fueled by his rage against the show's creator. Charging at Calypso, Luke grabs him tight and tells Billy to take the pickaxe and finish the gladiator off. Suffering another injury, Luke then turns on Cupcake, snatches her sword, and pins her against the wall, driving the blade into her stomach. On the brink of death, she begs for mercy, revealing that none of them entered the arena by choice. They were all forced to fight because of the injections Desmond uses to control the fighters. Watching from the sidelines, Desmond's assistant can't understand why the injections didn't work. He interrogates Domino and demands a blood test, but Domino backs away, then kills the assistant and takes Desmond hostage. Desmond reminds her that she's a former hired sniper and an arena fighter he once saved. Calling Domino ungrateful, he disarms her and forces a double injection, making her return to the arena as a participant. Luke knows the full truth, but who would believe him? As he steps into the arena, Desmond executes Cupcake with a shot to the head. Boggs is held hostage, but Desmond needs to give a grand speech to justify his actions to millions of viewers. Desmond tries to manipulate the situation, but Billy has had enough. Hiding a chainsaw behind her back, she suddenly attacks Desmond, attempting to saw him in half. Boggs survives and, now Boss Les, claims the right to make the calls himself. Granting freedom to the 4 surviving prisoners, he deactivates the implanted self-destruct chips. They're free. The crowd is stunned, then erupts in cheers, shocked by the unexpected twist. When the state chooses who lives and who dies for the sake of the show, is there any place left for justice? Or is the arena simply a mirror reflecting the true face of power? Share your thoughts in the comments down below, smash that like button, and don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video.